Yeah, we've obviously on a slide with our team, and man, handling adversity in the Big 12 is what you get to do. And if you handle it the right way, then I honestly do believe our best days are ahead of us. We'll improve. This basketball team has always improved, and we're excited to play on Saturday. Anytime you get to play in United Supermarkets Arena is a great opportunity, and we're playing a good, one of the best defensive teams in our league, a great shot blocking team, a team that I think keeps getting better too. They've obviously won on the road. They beat Texas at Texas, so UCF is a great test for us, and looking forward to Saturday.
First, Coach, just a health update on the team with the flu and also yourself as well.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking, but I was fine. I had a friend call me and ask me if he needed to plan, my funeral. So, I mean, look, it wasn't anything, man. Everybody gets sick. Everybody, I know my kids has been sick. Everybody's been sick. So this isn't anything new. And so it was a story somehow, and it shouldn't have been. So this is about our guys. I will tell you, we did have guys playing that weren't well. And to me, a lot of different things you can say about our players. Maybe we have some deficiencies, but soft is not one of them. We got tough guys, and our guys compete and they show up, and so I do see this, us not being 100%. I see it behind us, and I see us moving forward a lot significantly better than what we've been.
And you mentioned shot blocking with Central Florida. Is that going to change how you approach this game offensively at all, or are you just going to do what you do and let it ride?
Yeah, good question. This time of year, there's not a lot of dramatic changes you can make, honestly. And the more you try to, I think the more it hampers your team's ability to play hard. I think where you have to have recognition against a team like this that's so athletic and has such great length is you better attack the basket. You better not go in there thinking that you could get your shot blocked. You better attack the basket to go score, and that allows the rotation to be what it needs to be. The thing you can't do is jump off of 1 foot and shoot a shot going away from the rim. It does not work. And for us to be successful in this one, there's got to be an attack mentality, but the emphasis has to be on don't take contested shots and try to do a great job of movement around the ball so you can have outlets to make the right play. And I think you just got to do it on repeat over and over again. So I think our actions will be very similar to initiate offense, but the emphasis on attacking the basket is really going to be big this game.
You talk about health. Do you plan on having everybody back this game?
Yes, we would anticipate everybody playing in this one, and we don't see any. I haven't seen anything that makes me think that we have the same issues that we had the last couple games.
And did that game against Baylor show how important Warren is, just in terms of especially like for Pop, where a lot of times when he's successful is when he can come off the second side, score that way? Did that show how important Warren is to the team?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to watch that game to realize Warren's important to our team. I mean, look at our stats and look at just the rim presence that he provides for us and his ability to be kind of a focal point in our offense for facilitating and just the flow of how we play. And you could tell that we were pressing. I mean, we had some really bad turnovers in that game, but it felt like it was guys trying to do too much. And that's where we got to get back to sharing the ball, get back to practicing first and foremost. We were able to have 2 good practices heading into this one, and I just see our growth moving in the right direction when we can do that.
And they're 2 leading scorers. I'm really good at driving the ball. What have you seen from Sellers and Johnson in that regard?
Yeah, I love their team. I love their team's ability to have different guys kind of take the lead. When you watch them play, they'll put the ball in the guy's hands that they feel like gives them the best chance. And I don't think it has to be just one guy, but they do have 2 guys that put a lot of pressure on you, that can get fouled, that can make difficult shots. So key being for us is like, can we hold our ground better than we have? Can we have an initial ball screen coverage? Can we have an initial ball screen defense? Can we have an initial ball handler defense that doesn't allow people to get so close to the rim? Because that's what, if you look at our percentages, we're not great, but we're in the mid-pack in 2-point field goal percentage defense. But you look at our rebounding, and it's worst. So a lot of that has to do with just how far or how close to the paint teams are getting on us, which causes those rotations, and we're just getting mushed underneath the rim, and we don't have the athleticism to combat it when the ball's up on the rim. So really got to do a better job of that initial ball handler attack to keep it out of the paint.
Coach, what did you see from Rob Jennings and Chiron over the past couple of games with Warren being limited and then out earlier this week?
Well, honestly, it's been pretty dramatic, and that's what happens when you have pretty dramatic result. When you haven't played a ton, and you're out there a lot, you have some really great plays, and then some plays that you can tell the experience is low. And the longer that you play, the more comfortable you get, but also the more fatigued you get, and sometimes those mistakes grow. And I felt like we had some really good stretches, and then we had some stretches where we gave up some pretty significant plays that cost us in a close game, 51-51, 53-51, and a lot of those mistakes add up. And we needed that experience for those guys to continue to improve. And I thought their willingness to own the mistakes is what's going to allow us to get better.
Then UCF, kind of like Cincinnati, I guess, in a way, good rebounding team, good shot blocking team. I guess what did you learn from last Saturday's game that you can take over to tomorrow? Yeah,
well, I think the biggest area of concern is always going to be what happened in the Cincinnati game was in that part of the game where it was on, and I think they scored maybe 6 out of 6 their last possessions. And there has to be, we're gonna do a better job of guarding the ball and loading to the paint when they're driving it to the basket, and make sure that we're guarding the ball better. That's got to be a point of emphasis for us. And I do think when we can do that, we'll do a better job rebounding.
Coach, you're getting to the second half of Big 12 play right now. I guess your overall thoughts in the first season, and you're halfway through your first Big 12 season as head coach. I guess your expectations heading in, have you met those? Have you exceeded? Are we just behind?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even look at any of it. I mean, what you do as a head coach is you take the temperature of your team and you try to put them in the best chance to win the next game. And we need to be around these guys every day. And we need to attack every day in such a way that it gives us the best chance to get better. We weren't able to do that very well the last week. Just not having everybody in this gym at the same time to be able to practice. So I leave evaluating to after the season's over with. And honestly, the only evaluating I'm doing is how are we going to get better for this next game? Because you can't evaluate where you are until you get to the end of a season. So for me, I'm just evaluating what gives us the best chance to win this next game. And to me, I think we found and identified things that I think will help us get better. And we just got to grow in those, because people want to know where you're at. And I think that's a good way to look at it, but I also want to know where we're going to go, and that's where I spend a majority of my time right now. Like, what are we going to do to help our team improve? And I'm really excited about this group. I really am. I mean, these guys are willing to put in the effort. They own these things that don't go well. They don't look at it and try to make excuses, and that's what I love. And I evaluate the heart of who we're doing life with. That's what I evaluate, because if you evaluate too many times the result, you consume yourself with a ceiling. We don't want a ceiling. We want to have where are we going and how are we going to take it there, and is your heart open to getting better every day? And that's honestly the only thing I'm interested in evaluating, and I feel like our team's in the right place right now.
And Coach, we know you more of as a defensive guy, but I mean, based off the stats, I mean, this is one of the best scoring offenses in program history in the last 20-plus years. I guess, what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, we got great players. I mean, we got great guys that care a lot about winning, and we're trying to find a way to win. And you gotta look at it maybe through a different lens. Kerwin's and Chance are considered two of the best offensive players in the country, and Pop has the ability to put pressure on defenses in different ways. And Joe's one of the most physical, toughest players I've coached. At Darian Williams and Warren Washington. And you look at the way our lineups have continued to grow and change. And I'm just excited about this group and our potential. I mean, we haven't reached it. If I felt like we reached our potential, I'd be sitting up here going like, we're not a very good defensive team. We haven't even got where we need to get defensively. And I do think it's a process, and this team's committed to that. And I do feel like this team has offensive strengths more than defensive strengths. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to sit out there and watch that. But for me, the effort and the intensity in our practices moving us toward one of the best defensive teams, that's going to be our journey. And that's what we're always going to be consumed with. And I do think we're moving in that direction in a positive way.
Coach, you kind of hit on UCF's shot blocking ability and just defensive ability overall. With Diallo, I guess, what kind of shot blocker and presence at the rim is he, and what kind of challenges is that going to pose for your offense?
Yeah, well, we talked about shot block and Diallo obviously being one of the elite ones, but it's their ability to turn you over too and turn that into offense. And that's what we did in the Baylor game. When we turned it over in the Baylor game and they scored off of it, it'll screw us. So we can't do that to ourselves. And so that's where there has to be a different level of composure to the way we play the game. But you got to play with force. You can't back down. And I do love that about our team. I do think we're finding that balance, and it'll be a process even over the course of the game to figure out what that needs to look like for us to have success on Saturday.
Yeah, that was kind of my next question, was with the turnovers and against this team that's able to turn you over via the steal or via just their length at various positions. I guess, what kind of emphasis are you giving to Joe and the guys who handle the ball to, take care of it and make the right play? Yeah,
first of all, it's recognizing their changing defenses and make sure our group's in what we need to be in order to score. And the more you can identify that and be clear in that regard and make sure we're in the right spots, that helps. And then the other part is just making sure we're sharing the ball, not to over-dribble the ball. Make sure we're moving the ball to the right people in the right spots. Our teams had success when we were sharing the basketball, and we've struggled when we've over-dribbled it. This team you cannot over-dribble against. I mean, you got to be in attack mode, but you got to make sure you're sharing the ball.